On today's show, new year, new me, new Mavericks. Let's talk about the things the Dallas Mavericks need to do in 2025 to level up and hopefully win an NBA title. And today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And welcome. You are Locked On to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager at the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Subscribe to our free Locked On Mavs newsletter, your one-stop for the best news and analysis on the Dallas Mavericks and the NBA, fantasy, and all that every day in your inbox. Today's episode, we're getting into New Year's resolutions for every Maverick. I'm going to go through the rotation. I want to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie, Quentin Grimes, Maxi. Yes, we'll talk about Maxi. I made a mistake. I posted on Twitter, I said, name a Dallas Maverick and what their New Year's resolution should be for 2025. And I think I've got 30 responses right now, and most of them are Maxi Kleber related. Sorry, Maxi. Don't look at that. We'll talk about Naji Marshall. We'll talk about Dereck Lively, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Kyrie. But let's start with a New Year's resolution for the Dallas Mavericks best player, one of the best players in the NBA, one of the best players playing basketball currently right now, even though he's not, Luka Doncic. A season so far that it was down a little bit for his standards. Then it was back up when you felt really good about it and you felt good about where he was going. And then all of a sudden, another injury befell Luka Doncic. And so my New Year's resolution for Luka Doncic is simple, and it's kind of obvious. It's an obvious one, but for a lot of us, it's getting healthy is something that we want to do in 2025. It's a New Year's resolution for everybody. I was in the gym on Tuesday, December 31st, and there was no treadmills open. Everybody does this. They just all of a sudden are like, hey, let's get healthy again. And everybody starts getting back in the gym. Whereas like 3 days before that, there were a bunch of them open at the same time that I went to the gym. And so I'm not telling Luka to get in the gym. I'm not. That's not the analogy I was making there. But for Luka, it's get healthy, stay healthy, fix the left leg. It's been such an issue for him. I started to go through his injuries, and I went all the way back to 2021. I was just sitting on my couch trying to figure out how many left leg injuries he's had. And I tweeted him. You can go look at Nick Van Exit. You can go look at the list. But January 2021, left quad contusion, missed 1 game. November 2021, left ankle injury, 3 games. December 2021, left ankle again, 5 games. April 2022, left calf strain. That was the 3 games he missed for the beginning of the Utah Jazz series. January 2023, left ankle sprain, missed 1 game. March 2023, left thigh strain, 5 games missed. December 2023, left quad injury, missed 1 game. October 2024, left calf contusion, missed all of preseason to begin this season that we're talking about. March 2024, he missed 1 game with left hamstring soreness. April 2024, left ankle soreness, missed 2 games. Then I'll do October 2024, left calf contusion, missed the preseason. Had that out of order. And then December 2024, left heel contusion, missed 2 games earlier this season. And then now he's currently dealing with the left calf strain. 3 games so far. It will be definitely more than that by the end of when he comes back in a month or so. A lot of left calf, heel, calf, ankle, hamstring, quad, thigh, ankle. Is there any other part? Like, can a Twitter doctor tell me if there's another part of the leg? I mean, I guess we're missing shin. I guess we're missing glute. Is that part of the leg? I mean, there's no foot in there. I guess that's good, but it's the leg. The left leg has been such an issue for him. Get that left leg right. He's it's in 24 games since 2021. That was less games than I expected. I expected to go through this and see like 30, 40 games, something like that he's missed with just this left leg. There's been a bunch of others, and he had a right ankle issue that had a lot of different games in there in these last couple of years. So I didn't count that one because it's a different leg. But he's missed a bunch of different games with a bunch of different injuries on that left leg. It's becoming a problem that is concerning, and he's got to get healthy for the playoffs. It's a simple one for Luka, but they've got to figure that out between Luka and the medical staff and the coaching staff and all that. That's Luka's big thing. Just get healthy. His play on the court had gotten better, and I had some things for him at the beginning of the year, and I didn't have much for him the last couple of games that he was playing, and now it's just get healthy. Simple. For Kyrie Irving, the New Year's resolution for him is maybe a little unfair, but it's going to be asked of him. I think he needs to create more for others. Kyrie has had an incredible season. He is super efficient, one of the most efficient seasons he's had. He is shooting an insane percentage all over the place. And for Kyrie Irving, though, I think the next step for him with this Dallas Mavericks team is to figure out how he can create for others more. His assist percentage is the lowest of his career. 22.3%. He's creating 22.3% of other teammates' shots. That's the lowest it's been. For reference, back in 2020 on Brooklyn, he was at 36.7%. 22 to 36 is a big jump for an assist percentage. And so create more for others. Figure out ways to get guys more involved and things like that. His assists per 100 are the lowest of his career this season too. And yes, some of it is probably playing with Luka. But if you look at so far this season, he has played 1,040 possessions with Luka, and he's played 1,090 possessions without Luka. He's played more without Luka so far this season on the court. And so to me, I think that's the next thing. Kyrie has been incredibly efficient. There's not really much you can ask for him on offense. I think he's having the third highest true shooting percentage of his career, which is literally like 0.2 points off his number one from Brooklyn a couple years ago, and 0.1 off of 2 years ago when he joined the Mavericks. Wild. He's shooting an incredible percentage. So his scoring is there, but can he create for others? He's going to have to with Luka out this much to create that much offense, to get these guys involved. Now, the Mavericks do have guys that can create their own shots. We spent the whole episode basically yesterday after the Kings loss talking about how PJ Washington and Spencer Dinwiddie were creating their own shots. We've seen that a little bit more from Quentin Grimes. We've seen that more from Klay Thompson a little bit here and there, from Lively and from Gafford posting up and doing some things like that. Naji Marshall creating his own shots with the floaters in that great run that he had this season. A lot of Mavericks players are creating their own shots, but I think for Kyrie to take his next step in this Dallas Mavericks offense, especially with Luka out, that's the one area that I'm looking at. Create a little bit more for others. Get that assist rate up a little bit. Create some more for other players. Create out of the pick and roll a little bit more. Create out of handoffs a little bit more. Figure out how to get more guys involved, because he's got himself covered. He's doing incredible so far, scoring the ball himself. But for him to not have to play 40 minutes and to not have to exert that much effort and energy to take all those shots and to do the things. I mean, think about that Portland game a couple of days ago where he's out there against a bad Portland team playing 39 minutes, taking 26 shots, scoring 46 points, which is bonkers, 46 points on 26 shots. But to see him do that with only 2 assists, that's the next step for Kyrie, I think. And so that's the area. If I'm going to look at anything for Kyrie, there was not many things I'm looking at for Kyrie, but that's the area that I would want him to improve on, is to get some more guys involved, take the load off of himself and give it to somebody else to be able to take some of that from him. Coming up, PJ Washington. There's 2 things I actually want PJ Washington to do. Klay Thompson, kind of a similar vein, and the Dereck Lively. He's got to do one thing. And one thing only. I'll tell you what that is coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence, take control in the bedroom, talk about a New Year's resolution, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free to do that. They offer FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor's visits or pharmacy trips. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. I don't know if you can pick the colors on the packaging or whatever, but it's discreet. With Rocket RX, you can get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team, complete with a quick 100% online consultation. Get your free prescription. You can get it today if you put it in time. Visit rocketrx.com to start now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, our listeners can get 40% off your first order when you use Locked On NBA. That code is Locked On NBA for rocketrx.com for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is, huh? Anybody?
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners, listening every day. We appreciate you for checking out the show. We have a QR code in the corner. Find out different ways to follow the show. We've got the newsletter every day. Thank you for making us the #1 newsletter in all of Locked On. Also, we have the Insiders where you get text straight to your phone. I sent the Insiders a text earlier today and asked them for their New Year's resolutions, and I'm just gonna go read a couple of here. Lively to shoot 75 to 80% on his free throws. Stop taking hard falls. That's a good one. I may use that one. Dwight Powell to be hit in the face less this year. That's a great one. Dante Exum to make a full impact with the Mavericks when he comes back. That's an interesting. I hadn't thought about using Dante Exum. Dereck Lively look to score and be a threat when he catches the ball at the top of the key. Bit of a reach. Kyrie credits going vegan as a huge contributor to his performance. What if Luka resolved to go vegan? I'm not sure I'm going all the way there with you on that one, but that one's interesting. Luka go vegan. 2020. Can he drink beer on vegan? I'm pretty sure he can, right? It's a plant product. So that's from the Insiders. Those are people that text us. We have text conversations all the time. Send them messages and notes and all that. So subscribe to that. It helps support the show as well. All right. New Year's resolutions for Luka, get healthy, stay healthy for the playoffs, fix the left leg. Kyrie, create more for others. PJ Washington, the third most important player on the Dallas Mavericks. So great. I'm glad he's a Dallas Maverick. I very much am. It's a huge win. He's been so awesome. He was so great in that first quarter the other day against the Kings. I mentioned his three-point shooting confidence is at an all-time high. Keep it. Keep it. If you've seen the videos of Lethal Shooter, that guy that takes all those crazy shots and has the rims with like spikes on it and the backboard with spikes on it, or he makes the hoop smaller, tries to shoot. He shot the gummy bear into the water bottle. He's doing all this stuff, and all of a sudden he takes the first shot, kind of misses, takes the second shot, and then he gets closer and he goes, I understand it now. I understand it now. PJ Washington is in his I understand it now era of his three-point shot. Highest three-point shooting percentage of his career. He's at 39.8%. The highest he got before that was 2021 with the Hornets, 38.6%. So that means he hasn't been above 37% since 2021. And he's almost at 40% right now. His confidence and his shooting are at an all-time high. I think the Mavs worked on his shot over the summer, and that has proven to be great so far. I mean, and honestly, he didn't start the season shooting that well either. Yeah, the first couple of games, first 11 games or so, he was not shooting the ball that well. He had a couple of good games, 3 of 6 against the Timberwolves, 3 of 4 against the Thunder, but first 11 games he was shooting 25% from 3. He's gone on a heater recently, and he just needs to maintain that confidence. Take those shots. Shooting, there's a lot of shooting that's about confidence. If you've ever seen the All-Star game, I think it was back in the 80s, I don't know if it was 84, 85, Rolando Blackman was in the All-Star game at the free throw line, and he needed to hit these free throws to win the game or to tie the game or something. And he just looks and he goes, confidence, baby, confidence. And he's just screaming it. And that's what PJ Washington needs to do. Maintain his confidence, keep his three-point confidence up. He's in his understand it era. The other thing for him, and also his catch and shoot three-point rate is ranked very good by Synergy. That's the first time since 2020 he's been ranked that. Last year with both Dallas and Charlotte, he was ranked average, so just league average, right in the middle. 2023, before he was on the Mavericks, average on the Hornets. 2022, he's actually ranked good, which is just barely above average. 2021, he was also ranked good. 2020, he was very good as a catch and shoot shooter. This season, very good. Back to that rake. So he's been absolutely awesome shooting the ball the last couple of months here. The other thing for PJ is to make all defense. It's a tough thing. It's a very tough thing to ask, but the Mavericks are 10th in defense right now. They're allowing 111 points per 100 possessions. They're 10th. They're only 1 point away from 6th. If the Mavericks can get up into 6th, even 7th, and they're up there, and all of a sudden the Mavs are a bona fide top 10 defensive team, I think PJ is going to get some looks, especially if Lively misses more games. The Mavs will probably have to play tougher defense with Luka out for this month. And so maybe their defense gets even better throughout this stretch. Their offense definitely will fall off. But if their defense gets better, I think it's possible for him to get some looks. I don't think that it's likely for him, but I think if he makes the right waves and has some good moments and stops some guys, and he's looked at as a really good defensive player. I think that's not something that's out of the realm of possibilities for him. Keep his confidence up with his three-point shot, make all defense. It's a high bar, but he's been great. For Klay Thompson, same kind of thing. And it's just a simple one. Get your 3-point percentage over 40%. He does one thing for the Mavericks, and he does it really, really well. Takes threes, makes threes, becomes a threat, spaces the floor, is dominant in that area. The Mavericks offense is great when he's on the floor. He impacts the game just because of his shooting gravity. First 14 games of the season, he was shooting 35.6% on 8.5 attempts per game. Last 14 games, he's at 40.8% on 7.4 attempts. He's been awesome these last couple weeks. Keep it up. Keep shooting and shoot over 40%. Let's get it there for Klay Thompson. Let's just make him more of a threat, more of a threat in the Mavs offense. And it'll be a little bit more difficult with Luka out. He's played mostly with Luka this season. And so this month, I'm really looking at Klay Thompson to see how he gets there. This is one that seems really simple, 2 percentage points increase, but can he do it without Luka? This is a player that I'm watching because the Mavericks will need some extra offense. Can they get it from Klay? Dereck Lively. There's not many things that I want from Dereck Lively that he's not already doing. The one thing I want him to do is to fall less. Can he fall less? He's missing 3, maybe 4 games with a hip contusion now. He missed 1 game earlier this year with a knee hyperextension. He missed 4 games with a shoulder sprain. I think he got that shoulder sprain against the Magic, if I remember that one correctly, but he fell pretty hard. The hip contusion was also a hard fall. The Mavs are 3-5 without Lively this season. They're 9-4 when he plays over 25 minutes. He's very important. Him and PJ are up there for a third most important Maverick. Dereck Lively has worked on his foul rate and his foul percentage. That's something that we were definitely watching. He's fouling a lot less. And so that's something that we're not as concerned about. He was fouling a ton at the beginning of the season, but he's got to play. He's got to be available. That's a very tough thing. And Slightly went on a whole rant about it the other day about how this is becoming a thing where he falls and all of a sudden he misses 3 to 4 or 5 games. That's the thing. So him and Luka are kind of the same. Stay healthy. Stay out there. Play. Availability is the best ability. It's not true. There's way better abilities. Like I would rather have Joel Embiid for whatever he gives you than, I don't know, Nurkic. If I got more games of Nurkic. That's saying never works. That's what I want for Dereck Lively. Fall less. They need him. They need him out there. You saw that when you have Lively and Gafford as a combo, it just works infinitely better than Gafford and Dwight or Gafford and Maxi as a combo. They just get so exposed that way. For Naji Marshall, kind of a simple one for him and kind of a hard one to quantify. But if you remember going back to Media Day, we sat and talked to him on Media Day. We talked to Naji Marshall. And one of the things he said just really stuck with me. And I've mentioned it a bunch of times on this show. But if you missed it, he said, I want my defense to be so good that other guys around me that aren't known as good defenders will be known as good defenders because of the aura, basically the aura of defense that I just give off. And I expected him to come in and really I expected him to be a much better defensive player than an offensive player. Because before this, he averaged 7 points a game last year for the Pelicans playing 19 minutes. He shot the 3-ball well finally, so he was kind of just like a 3-and-D player because he was shooting the 3-ball well. And he was doing a little bit here and there in transition. We mentioned his assists and his passing. I knew his passing was going to be good for the Mavs. His transition game was going to be good for the Mavs. I did not expect this floater. I mean, he's shooting he's shooting 61% on 2-point shots. The highest he had before that was 2022 with the Pelicans. He shot 53%. His floater is just on a different level than it has been his entire career. He's also playing more, but for him, his defense has not stood out to me as elite or as close to elite. He's not as big or as long as PJ. He's not as quick as Grimes. But you do see these defenders every once in a while where you go, they're not the quickest, they're not the strongest or fastest, but they are the best. And that's something I'm looking at Naji Marshall to level up. Just level up on defense. Show the level of defense that you talked about at Media Day, that you told us that you want to play. That'll help this Mavericks team over the stretch. If they can get a Kyrie, Grimes, Naji, PJ, even like throw Gafford out there, I guess, lineup, hopefully when Lively comes back, lineup, humming on defense, get the Mavs to a top 6, top 5 defense in this stretch without Luka, that'll get them wins. That'll keep them above 500. That'll keep them in a place where you're winning games. Their offense is going to have to do just enough. But if they can get that elite defense with those 4 guys playing a bunch, then all of a sudden you got something that you can live with Luka out. And that's, I think, the most important thing for this team. And so Naji Marshall, level up defense. By the end of the year, I want us to be talking about, actually, is Naji the best defender on the team, not PJ or Lively, or the best wing defender? That's what I want for Naji Marshall. That's a New Year's resolution. That's a goal for him. Coming up, the end of the rotation guys: Gafford, Dinwiddie, Grimes, Maxi Kleber. I've got one thing that each of them needs to do in 2025 to level up, to be better, and hopefully get the Dallas Mavericks a title. We'll talk about that and more coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Rocket Money. I used Rocket Money because I needed something. I needed something to organize my finances. That's something that they do. It's a personal finance app. Helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscription. It monitors your spending. I knew I was spending a lot on certain things, but I didn't know how much. You know, you kind of go and you're like, all right, as long as my checking account stays positive at the end of the month, I'm okay. It's not the case. Sometimes you find out you're spending way too much on a certain thing, and then you have to change your habits and you have to change what you do. And Rocket Money helped me do that. It helped me change what I spend on certain things and made me realize you have to spend less in one area. I was spending so much eating out, and I didn't realize how much money I was spending at restaurants or fast food or things like that. And I could save so much more just making my own meals or doing something like that. And so my grocery bill went up, but not as much as I was paying in fast food because of Rocket Money. They also helped me to lower some of my subscriptions as well. They did it. I didn't have to lift a finger. They lowered my phone bill. They saved their members $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
We're going to get t-shirts made with that quote. Make sure you save that quote.
All right, Isaac, let's get into the end here. We're talking about the end of the rotation. Goals for the Mavericks 2025 New Year's resolutions. Daniel Gafford. We went in on this yesterday, but I'm going to do it again. Daniel Gafford, improve rebounding. It's a big thing as a center, and I went and I dug a little bit deeper on some of the numbers. Daniel Gafford, his offensive rebound percentage is 12.8%. 86th percentile. That's actually very good. He's doing a good job offensive rebounding so far this season. But he's below average at his position for every game this year. Well, that's tough. That's a tough one. He's doing well as a he's like his offensive rebounding percentage well as a basketball player, but not as a center. And that's the thing that is different. His defensive rebounding percentage, 15.8%. He's getting 15.8% of the Mavs misses. That's the 36th percentile. That's not enough. That's not good enough. The average for his position is 19%. He's at 16%. He is below average for a center as a defensive rebounder. He's been below average on every single game this year. He's been below his position average. Last year, he was actually above for several games. This year, he has not had one game where he's had a above average defensive rebound percentage. He's got to get better rebounding. That's definitely in this stretch without Luka. He's got to get better at that. He's got to stop the flops when he gets pushed in the back. He's got to stop the falling and trying to get fouls. You got to stop playing the game within the game. Get the board. Get the ball. Massive. That's a huge one. When Gafford is on the floor, the other teams are rebounding 26.5% of their misses. That's the 37th percentile. That's bad. Teams are getting those offensive rebounds because Gafford is not getting the defensive rebounds. Same thing in the so it's a struggle for the Mavericks. He's got to get better at that. That was a great segment. I just did that right there. Spencer Dinwiddie. My New Year's resolution for him is maintain. Maintain. He has been so good. First 14 games of the season, he was averaging 5 points, shooting 31% from the field, 28% from three. He was playing 18 minutes still. He wasn't playing at all. He was playing. I took out some of the games where he just came in at garbage time, so it didn't skew some of those percentages and skew some of those averages. But 18 minutes a game, 5 points, 31% from the field, not good enough. Last 16 games, 14 points a game, shooting 37% from three, playing 27 minutes. He's going to have to play a lot with Luka out. If he could just maintain this, shooting well, the confidence in the driving ability, creating some offense, scored 30 points the other night. If he can maintain that, then when Luka comes back, this team will be humming on offense. It'll be great. There's not much I want from Spencer Dinwiddie, honestly, because I don't know that there's much more you can ask from him in this. Maybe it's make better decisions with the ball. Maybe it's pound the rock less and get the ball moving a little bit more. That's definitely something you want from him. But for what he's doing it well for the Mavs right now in the last 16 games. Quinton Grimes, my guy. I got one thing for him, and it benefits the Mavericks. Maybe not necessarily in the long term, but in this year. Get paid. Get paid. That's my New Year's resolution for him. The same way that Derrick Jones Jr. proved that he is a top-tier role player in the NBA and went out and got paid, I want Quentin Grimes to do that too. And probably even at a better rate than Derrick Jones Jr. Because Derrick Jones Jr. was good for the Mavs and got paid, but I think Quentin Grimes can reach a higher level. Because his three-point shot is way better. He's a much better shooter. His defense is not the same, but we've seen some of the things. We've seen some of the things from him. Can he get paid? Can he go out there and prove that he can be a top-tier role player? He's done it on offense. His three-point shot is really great. He's shooting over 40% this season. We've talked about he's created some of his own shots and things like that. That's something that stood out to me that he's done well. He'll have to do that more with the Mavericks with Luka out. But his defense is going to be, that's the thing that'll get him paid, I think. And that's something that we're going to need to see. That's why I want to see the Grimes, Naji, PJ Lively with Kyrie. I want to see that lineup. And I'll see how that lineup does in this stretch. Last one. Maxi Kleber. Should I just read some of these that some people wrote? They're so mean. They're so mean. They're so mean. A lot of them is just Maxi, find a new team. Okay. One of them said, Maxi, work with Klay Thompson on shooting with confidence again. That's kind of funny. One of them just traded him to the Wizards for Kuzma. Oh, so many on Maxi. But for Maxi Kleber, there's a scene in New Girl where they find Schmidt's dream journal. They find like his New Year's resolution basically book where he has the things that he wants to do in this year. And it was from like 5 or 6 years before it was that moment. And one of them was find out where Winston gets his sparkle and then steal it. Maxi Kleber needs to find where PJ Washington gets his sparkle and steal it. Wherever PJ is getting this confidence, wherever he's getting this FU attitude, wherever he's getting this, I'm going to step into a pull-up three that he's never done before. These catch and shoot threes are better than he's ever been in the NBA. Wherever he's getting that, steal it, Maxi. Like, find a way. Maybe it's get with Klay Thompson. Maybe it's get with PJ Washington. Maybe it's get with Kyrie. But find how he's got this confidence. Steal it. Find your own way to do it. Because a Maxi Kleber that is shooting confidently from three is just a much different one. Because I think defensively he's been solid for his role. He's only playing 18 minutes a game, and a lot of that is inflated because of these injuries. It's the lowest of his career since his rookie year with the Mavericks. Like 2021, he's playing 27 minutes a game. 2023, he's playing 25 minutes a game. He's way down. His role is not that big for the Mavericks, and he's missed a bunch of games also this season. But he's had more games where he plays. Let's see. He's had 7 games where he plays 22 minutes or more. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games where he's played under 16 minutes. And so my point in that is his role is not huge for the Mavericks. They just need him to be more confident taking threes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's made 5 threes this season. I could count them. I could literally count them on one hand. How many? He's played 21 games. He's had 13 games where he's taken a three. He's had 8 games where he's not taking a three. He's got to be more confident. Find out where PJ gets his sparkle and steal it, Maxi. That's your news resolution. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me on Locked On Mavs. We'll be back with more. We'll have post-game show tomorrow with me and Slightly. We'll have all kinds of stuff. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Check the link in the description for more ways to follow the show. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out.